The Declaration of Rights, an Act of Parliament, also known as the Bill of Rights, was enacted in England in 1689 after the Glorious Revolution that overthrew the regime of the monarch, King James II. The king, being a Catholic and religiously intolerant, by allowing the Catholics to bear arms and hold all influential positions. And at the same time, he started to disarm all Protestants. So the Parliament intervened and King James II fled to France. And William was declared the king who was a Protestant. The Bill of Rights was introduced to limit the powers of the monarch and to establish the rights of Parliament and the rights of common people. Among the others, the right of bearing arms was granted to Protestants. It stated that Protestants may have arms for their defense suitable to their conditions and as allowed by the law. The Bill of Rights did not create a new right to have arms, but rather revoked and deplored acts of the deposed King James II. In the United States, the right to keep and bear arms is influenced by this Bill of Rights, which was introduced during the Second Amendment in 1791. It states, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." It is worth mentioning that prior to this amendment or establishment of the Constitution, during the American Revolutionary period, there was a time when a distrust and defiance was growing against the British rule, against the policies of the Crown, and the militia, who used to be called loyalists, were becoming patriots. On the quest for independence, those patriots started creating their own militia and started stocking their own armories with weapons and ammunition. In response to this arms buildup, the British Parliament established an embargo of firearms and ammunition against the American colonies. King George III also began disarming individuals who were in the most rebellious areas in the 1760s and 1770s. After so many struggles and sacrifices, America gained independence on July 4th, 1776. And eventually the right to keep and bear arms was established once again under the Second Amendment. There are few other countries around the world who allow their citizens to keep and bear arms. Countries like Czech Republic, Guatemala, Ukraine, Mexico, the Philippines, the United States, Yemen, and Switzerland. Let's talk about the developed economies where the safety and security of one's life is much higher and much more guaranteed than other less privileged countries. Countries like Switzerland, a landlocked country, shares borders with 5 countries, does not have a navy, and the total number of military personnel are around 100,000, and have a defense budget of $5.2 billion. Military service is mandatory for all male citizens when they reach the age of 18, and it is optional for women. The Swiss militia system stipulates that soldiers keep their army-issued equipment, including fully automatic personal weapons, at home, in order to be mobilized in the time of need. Being a neutral country and still keeping its borders and its values safe, this is a very unique but effective and well-controlled system. The United States has the 3rd largest army in the world after China and India, with 1.4 million personnel. has a military spending of $877 billion a year. That is almost 3 times the budget of the Chinese army, and is 40% of the total military expenditure of the rest of the world. While sharing its borders with only Canada and Mexico, the US is geopolitically a very safe country, with its fleet of warships deployed over all the oceans, with the most advanced air defense systems and so on. The only threats the US have are created by the US itself. So in a country that strong, that powerful, and that safe, a common citizen of the country is afraid to go watch a movie, to do groceries, eat out at a restaurant, or go bowling because, who knows, when someone is going to use the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms, and go on a shooting spree over a breakup or a fight with the boss, and take so many lives blindly. And we still keep using centuries-old vocabulary to justify such acts in the name of rights, when the right to be alive is being denied to fellow innocent citizens. We could not figure out any possible way to protect the so-called right to keep and bear arms for over 2 centuries. Self-protection is a must, and everyone should be able to protect themselves and their families by any means possible. But after looking at the weapons being kept and used by these amendment militia, it makes us wonder that what are they scared of? Why does someone need weapons that advanced to scare away the burglars and intruders? If a threat to our freedom is more than that, then why are the $877 billion being spent in the name of security? Did anyone ever wonder who is making all these weapons? Who are they selling it to? Who is buying? Who is lobbying for these companies? How much of an interference and influence they have in the Congress and on the national and global security matters? Why are we mass producing so much ammunition and keep creating its demand at home and all over the world? We have gone so far into this arms race that there is no going back. The only possibility is to just stop it wherever it is. Just stop where everyone is. But no one wants to be the first one to stop. The United States was the first country to open the door to hell when it experimented with Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. And we should all pray and hope that it is not the first one to enter. America was built on the foundations of our forefathers' sacrifices, struggles, hard work, and their dedication, patriotism, and nationalism. They fought for an independent state which respects and protects the right of all its citizens, regardless of their color, race, gender, or status. Americans should be proud of this freedom. But it is useless to show pride and power with big rides, big houses, and big weapons. The question being raised is not if one should keep and bear arms. Everyone should have a right to keep a weapon for self-protection. The question being raised is that what is the definition of self-protection? What is the level of protection common citizens need, and what level of ammunition will do the job? How hard it is to figure out. The never-ending game of weapons America is playing all over the world, Americans keep on playing among themselves. Pride should be shown in terms of financial stability, level of affordable healthcare, adaptability and reliability of its economic, legal, and social structures. Pride should be shown by its advanced space program that can be used to keep the planet safe from extraterrestrial bodies, like dealing with the asteroid named Apophis that has a 2.7% chance of hitting Earth in the year 2029. And we are capable of doing that. Pride should be shown by the capabilities to win over a global pandemic so fast and so effectively. And there are still diseases out there that still have no cure. But after trying tirelessly over the last few decades to master the materialistic world, the only two things we succeeded to master are the cars and the weapons. Self-protection and freedom has to be earned. And our forefathers earned enough for us that we don't have to commit suicide to protect ourselves, as Alan Watts once said about this mad race of weapons. Who do we want to impress with the big guns? We should stop playing this game of power in the name of self-protection. When there was a time for self-protection, half of the Americans refused to wear a mask. A bullet never leaves the barrel with a name on it. It has the potential to end an innocent life and ruin so many. Lewiston, Maine, Jacksonville, Florida, Trabuco Canyon, California, Fargo, North Dakota, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Baltimore, Maryland, Monroe Township, Ohio, Richmond, Virginia, Farmington, New Mexico, Allen, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Henrietta, Oklahoma, are the names of towns where the lives of people were taken and ruined in the last 6 months in the United States. 62 people lost their lives, 75 got injured, and so many families were affected, without any fault of their own. How can we justify the deaths of school-going children as young as 6 and 7 in the massacre we witnessed at Sandy Hook Elementary School in the name of self-protection? Why can't we have a system to check, control, and verify the weapons being sold and the buyers as well? Why every single time the case is closed declaring the shooter mentally sick or being troubled? How inhumane it is to weaponize such individuals, who we already know have a potential of committing such crimes. Why don't we want to acknowledge that the country is free and we have left those tough times so far behind when the need to bear arms was the need of the time? And why don't we trust the systems in place to safeguard our rights and our lives? If the citizens of a democratic country have to go that extreme for their own protection, that signifies only one thing: that the country is failing to protect its own people. We, the people, believe that it is about time we do the ratifications to the Second Amendment, since it's been a while since we established that statement. Article 5 allows us to discover the faults and shortcomings within the statement. And by making it more specific, by changing a few words in it, it can save so many innocent lives. We all know it is very simple, quite possible, and it is necessary. But the only thing missing is the willingness to change our ideology, for whatever reasons we might have. Situations have changed. We have been free for over 2.5 centuries, done wonders, grown vastly, are a superpower, and have become so much more civilized, educated, advanced, and futuristic. And we know our rights, our power, our duty towards our nation, our families, and our duty towards our next generation. We have to give our kids a chance to enjoy this freedom and to enjoy their chance to be a sovereign citizen of this glorious nation, and to get together, to think positively and clearly, to make a change, and to make the next steps to safeguard the rights of our children, and to amend the law that is failing to protect innocent lives, to make the 28th Amendment All we have got is one chance.